Tired of high rent and no savings? What if your next city pays you to move? $10,000 in cash, help with a mortgage, even a new bike and free outdoor perks. From Tulsa and Topeka to West Virginia and Northwest Arkansas, these are real programs. These offers have rules, clocks, and tiny details that decide who gets paid and who misses out. In this countdown, I'll show who qualifies, when the money lands, and how to stack multiple perks without breaking a single rule. Ready? Stay to the end. Number 1 is where smart timing turns the offers into nearly $20,000. Ready to pick your new hometown? Let's dive in. Northwest Arkansas. Northwest Arkansas's LifeWorks Here gives $10,000 to accepted remote workers and lets you pick a high-quality bike or an arts membership. You must live in NWA for 12 months to receive the full amount, and payouts are usually staged after you move. But many other full-time remote roles are welcome. Proof of full-time remote employment, photo ID, and a lease or deed. The area is growing fast. Walmart HQ, vendors, startups, with strong trails, museums, and family-friendly suburbs. Rents and home prices sit below many big coastal cities, so the $10,000 actually moves the needle. Biggest watchouts: application windows, competitive spots, and making sure your employer meets the remote rules. If you want outdoor life, a serious arts scene, and a strong job market, this package fits well. Harmony, Minnesota. Harmony pays $5,000 to $12,000 as a cash rebate when you build a new home. This is a housing growth program, not a remote work stipend. You'll file building permits, provide contractor invoices, pass inspections, and follow the EDA checklist before the city cuts the check. Money arrives after construction milestones or after final completion, depending on the rules in place when you apply. Good fit if you want a small, quiet town, own land, or plan to buy a lot, and like the idea of a modest project budget boosted by real cash. Programs open/close based on budget. This is not for buying an ordinary existing home, and you must keep good paperwork. Talk to the EDA early so your design, timeline, and appraisal won't miss a requirement. 13. New Haven, Connecticut. New Haven offers up to $10,000 for down payment or closing costs as a 0% loan that is forgiven 20% per year and fully forgiven after 5 years if you stay. It targets first-time buyers and requires homebuyer education, lender pre-qualification, and an executed purchase contract. The money is limited and opens in funding rounds, so timing matters. Expect to submit income/ID documents, meet purchase price limits if listed. This isn't spend anywhere cash. It is tied to the home and can be recaptured if you sell early or move out. New Haven has a real city feel. Yale, hospitals, food, arts, trains to NYC, and neighborhoods where this help can close the gap. Take the class early, keep your lender and housing counselor in the loop, and lock your documents before making offers. Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore stacks several tools you can combine. The first-time homebuyers incentive, up to $10,000 for buyers meeting income limits. Buying into Baltimore, $5,000 by lottery after you attend a trolley tour. And live near your work, city plus employer funds when you buy near your job. You'll bring income proof, ID, homebuyer education, and for LNYW, proof of employment with a partner employer. Slots are limited and each program has different rules. So plan the order. Take the class, register for the tour, confirm employer participation, line up a lender who knows Baltimore incentives. Many Baltimore row homes are still priced below other East Coast cities, so incentives can cover a large share of closing costs or even part of a down payment. Watchouts, application dates, neighborhood boundaries, occupancy rules, and making sure your lender locks the incentive into your closing timeline. West Lafayette. Greater Lafayette, home to Purdue University, has recruited remote workers with packages valued up to about $10,000 through city partner offers and Make My Move campaigns. Past rounds included $5,000 cash, plus co-working, concierge help, and community perks. What you'll show: full-time remote employment, ID, lease or deed, and sometimes a move-in deadline. It's a true college town with Big Ten energy, engineering talent, strong food, and easy access to Indianapolis and Chicago. You can live close to campus amenities without big city rent. Terms shift by cohort. One round might be cash-heavy, another perk-heavy. Save the listing. Ask for a benefit sheet in writing and match your lease start to the payout schedule. If you're in tech, design, analytics, or remote corporate roles, this is a safe way to test the Midwest while stacking real benefits. Newton, Iowa. Newton pays $10,000 at closing when you buy a qualifying new construction home that meets the city's valuation floor. You also receive a welcome package worth about $2,500. The incentive applies to new homes that start construction through 2026 while funds last. Payment timing is clear. The check is cut at closing, which helps reduce cash you bring to the table. What to prepare? Builder contract, appraisal showing the home meets the minimum value, and standard closing documents. The city wants clean, code-compliant new builds, not speculative flips, so keep your construction timeline and permits organized. Buyers like Newton because everyday costs are manageable, and the $10,000 is not a vague promise. It shows up on closing day, valuation rules, construction deadlines, and keeping your lender, realtor aligned so nobody forgets to file the city paperwork. Ruston, Louisiana. Ruston offers $10,000 to remote workers, paid over 3 years. There are extras like a community liaison, discounted college sports, and lifetime alumni memberships for Louisiana Tech or Grambling State grads who return. What to bring? Proof of full-time remote work or self-employment, U.S. work authorization, income documents, and a new lease or deed in Ruston. The staged payout keeps you anchored while you find your routine. Ruston's rent levels are often friendly to solo earners or young families, so the grant can be savings rather than survival money. Use the 3-year timeline to plan upgrades, debt paydown, or an emergency fund. Watchouts, cohort windows, not always open, minimum income thresholds, and showing you actually live in town, utility bill, driver's license update, etc. Apply with a clear Why Ruston story. It helps in selection. West Memphis, Arkansas. West Memphis launched a remote worker offer, $5,000 if you rent or $10,000 if you buy. Some rounds include a hotel scouting stay and a welcome meal with the mayor. The play here is location. Live in low-cost West Memphis and be minutes from downtown Memphis. NBA games, Beale Street, airport, music, and healthcare jobs without paying Memphis prices. What to show? Proof of remote work, ID, and a lease or deed that meets local rules. Ask if payouts are lump sum or staged and get it in writing. Home values are typically lower than the national median, so the $10,000 can cover closing costs or a big chunk of your down payment. Watchouts, program dates, residency requirements, and making sure you actually spend most nights in West Memphis. For creators, gig workers, and remote pros, this is a high-value base with big city access. Hamilton, Ohio. Hamilton's TAP, Talent Attraction Program, is a reverse scholarship that pays your student loan servicer while you live in Hamilton and work in Butler County. Awards are up to $15,000, usually monthly. Typical rules: a recent degree, about 7 years or less since graduation, $10,000 plus in student loan debt, and moving to a targeted neighborhood. What to prepare? Job offer in Hamilton/Butler County, loan statements, ID, and your lease/deed. Why people like it? Monthly loan help plus Hamilton's lower rent can free hundreds each month for savings. The city has a growing arts and small tech scene and sits close to Cincinnati for big city amenities. Watchouts, application windows, meeting the degree recency rule, and confirming your loans are eligible. If you want lower debt without giving up city access, this program is clean and practical. Greater Rochester, New York. Greater Rochester can stack up to $19,000 for movers, usually up to $10,000 to relocate as a remote worker, plus up to $9,000 in homebuyer help if you purchase. Programs run in cohorts, so they may pause between rounds. What you'll prepare: verification of fully remote work, photo ID, new residency in the 9-county region, and normal tax closing documents. Expect payments after you move. and homebuyer funds only if your purchase meets program rules. The region offers city neighborhoods, small towns, and lake access, with costs below many Northeast metros. Smart approach. Join the interest list when closed, pre-gather employment and housing documents, and line up a lender who knows how to time incentive money with closing. Watchouts. Changing program names, exact county boundaries, and making sure your remote employer sits outside the region if the rules require it. The Shoals, Alabama. The Shoals pays $10,000 to accepted remote workers. Common rules include a minimum income, often around $52,000, full-time remote employment with an employer outside the area, and a requirement to move within about 6 months of selection. Funds are typically paid across your first year after you prove residency. Expect an interview, background/ID checks, and income verification. Why viewers like it? Low cost of living, real arts and music heritage, river life, and a tight remote worker community. What to prepare? Letter from your employer showing remote status, recent pay stubs or contract, ID, and a lease or deed. Watchouts. Exact payment timing, hitting the income floor, and making sure your job remains remote. If you switch to a local employer mid-year, ask how that affects eligibility. Ascend, West Virginia, Charleston. Ascend WV pays $12,000 to remote workers who move to Charleston and gives a free year of outdoor recreation passes and gear perks. Applications open by cohort. Only certain cities are open at any time. Requirements usually include U.S. work authorization, a full-time remote job, and a commitment to live locally. Money is typically staged after arrival. What to prepare? Employer letter proving remote status, ID, lease or deed, and bank info. Charleston offers riverfront living, a walkable core, good coffee and food, and regular flights. Watchouts. Limited spots per cohort, showing true residency. Driver's license update, utilities, and planning your move to match check-in dates so your first installments are on time. If you want a small capital city with outdoor access, this is a balanced cash plus lifestyle package. Ascend, West Virginia, Morgantown. Morgantown runs the same $12,000 package and outdoor perks. It's a classic college town, West Virginia University, with trails, rivers, and a lively downtown. The process mirrors Charleston. Watch for the cohort to open, apply with remote job proof, then move and verify. Payments are staged, so plan your lease, start, and arrival date to match onboarding milestones. Bring a short Why Morgantown story. Ascend looks for people who will plug into the community. Good fit for remote engineers, designers, analysts, healthcare admins, and creators who want a lower-cost home base with students, sports, and nature nearby. Watchouts, limited seats, proof of residency, and keeping your remote job status stable. If you want a social, outdoorsy life without a big price tag, Morgantown is easy to recommend. Topeka, Kansas. Choose Topeka works through employers. If you're hired by a participating employer in Shawnee County and relocate, you can receive up to $10,000 if you rent or up to $15,000 if you buy. Funds are usually paid after your first year and often matched by the employer and city. What to prepare? Offer letter, proof of residency, ID/tax forms, and any employer forms that confirm participation. Topeka is a state capital with short commutes, stable government and private jobs, and housing that's cheaper than many metro markets. Watchouts. Your employer must be in the program, and incentives are performance-based. Don't expect day one cash. Confirm payout timing, what happens if you change jobs, and whether your lease or mortgage meets the rules. If you are job hunting anyway, this is a clean way to stack salary, plus relocation help. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa Remote gives $10,000 to accepted remote workers who move to Tulsa, plus co-working, events, and a large alumni network. You must be 18 plus, authorized to work in the U.S., have full-time remote employment outside Oklahoma, and be ready to move within 12 months of approval. Payments are staged after arrival, often monthly. What to bring? An employer letter showing remote status, ID, lease or deed, and banking details. Why it stands out? Thousands have already come through, so the community is active and helpful. Tulsa has strong arts, good food, and very manageable everyday costs. Watchouts, interviews, and background checks, proof you actually live in Tulsa, and understanding tax treatment of the grant. Apply early, keep documents clean, and plan your move so your first installment lands right after you complete onboarding. That's the list. Pick your city and claim your money. See you in the next one on Snot Reel.